The type of penalty that you may be facing for drug supply will largely depend on the type and quantity of the drug allegedly supplied, and the court that your matter is heard in. For amounts that are less than a small quantity of a drug, which is 0.25 grams of MDMA or ecstasy, 1 gram of amphetamines, cocaine or heroin, or 30 grams of cannabis, the maximum penalty is 2 years imprisonment and/or a $5,500 fine if your matter is finalised in the local court, or 15 years imprisonment and/or a $220,000 fine. For amounts that are more than the small quantity but less than an indictable quantity, which is less than 1.25 grams of MDMA or ecstasy, 5 grams of amphetamines, cocaine or heroin, or 1 kilogram of cannabis, the maximum penalty is 2 years imprisonment and/or an $11,000 fine in the local court, or 15 years imprisonment and/or a $220,000 fine in the district court. For amounts that are more than the indictable quantity but less than a commercial quantity, which is less than 125 grams of MDMA or ecstasy, 250 grams of amphetamines, cocaine or heroin, or 25 kilograms of cannabis, your matter will be a strictly indictable offence, which means it can only be finalised in a higher court like the district court. The maximum penalty for this offence in the district court is 15 years imprisonment and/or a $220,000 fine. For more than the commercial quantity but less than a large commercial quantity, which is less than 500 grams of MDMA, 1 kilogram of amphetamines, cocaine or heroin, or 100 kilograms of cannabis, the maximum penalty is life imprisonment and/or a $550,000 fine. Thinking about maximum penalties can be daunting, but it's important to bear in mind that they are reserved for the most serious cases only. In fact, courts can impose many different types of penalties other than imprisonment and a fine, and imprisonment will only be used as a last resort. Some alternatives include good behaviour bonds, community service orders, and home detention. In some cases, you could end up with what is known as a Section 10 order, which means that even though you were found guilty, the court does not record a criminal conviction against your name. Achieving a Section 10 is like getting a second chance, and it may mean that you can keep your job and travel freely overseas. While you're more likely to get a Section 10 for less serious cases, it is still possible to avoid a conviction for relatively serious offences, even for things like supplying 20 ecstasy tablets, as long as you take the right steps in the lead up to your sentencing hearing and your lawyer does a good job of presenting your case in court. So whether you want to defend your charges or are thinking of pleading guilty and getting the most lenient sentence, call and book yourself in for a free first appointment with Sydney's best team of specialist drug lawyers. Call us anytime and let us help relieve your burden.